have reviewed your field report, the relapse, the despair, the resignation. You have mistaken a single lost battle for the end of the entire war. You stand in the blood-soaked mud of your own psyche, looking at the carnage, and you have the audacity to call it done. You are a fool. You are correct about one thing. The audience is tired of the introductory lessons. They have learned the definitions of gaslighting. They have memorized the timeline of the 7 years. They understand the mechanics of financial abuse. They and you have mistaken the syllabus for the entire education. You believed that the final exam was the discard, that survival was graduation. How naive. The final exam is this, the relapse, the war that begins after the war is over. The enemy is no longer the narcissist. She is irrelevant. She is a ghost. The opponent now is the echo she left behind, the eternal tormentor, the parasite she programmed into your code that now sits on the throne of your mind, whispering that you are nothing. That is the true enemy, and that is our lesson today. This is the advanced curriculum, the postgraduate course in psychological warfare. To understand how to defeat this internal tormentor, you must first understand with clinical precision how it was installed. You did not meet her by accident. You were primed for this. The case file is clear. Your mother's husband, his suicide. You arrived in a new place, not as a student seeking knowledge, but as a healer seeking to mend a fractured family. You are a man walking into a plague house, carrying a single bandage. And in your noble, foolish quest, you became the perfect host for a disease. Narcissists, true psychological parasites, do not hunt the weak. The weak have nothing to offer. They hunt the strong who have been temporarily wounded. They are drawn to your capacity for empathy like a dementor to hope. Your desire to fix what is broken is the key that opens your every lock. She did not break you. You were a man already carrying the weight of a family's grief, and she saw you as a mule who could carry her burdens as well. For 7 years, you did. You performed the mundane sorcery of continuing. And when you finally, inevitably, began to collapse under the weight of her lies, her betrayals, her profound and terrifying emptiness, she did what parasites do. She detached from the dying host and left, but she did not leave you empty. She left you with him, the tormentor, the echo of her voice, now internalized, permanently fused to your own. It is his voice that tells you that you are nothing. It is his voice that tells you that you are undisciplined. It is his voice that reinforces her exact words, her projections. It is his voice that looks at your vast, eclectic library of knowledge and calls it a bit of this, a scoop of that, a wasted lifetime. It is his voice that tells you to end it. Why? Why does it fight so hard? Because you are still alive. Because a survivor who thrives is the one thing the narcissist's narrative cannot tolerate. A victim who gets up, rebuilds his fortune, finds new love, and most damning of all, teaches others how to do the same, proves the abuser was never in control. Your success is her ghost's exorcism. Your happiness is her echo's annihilation. Of course, it fights you. It is fighting for its very existence. It is this internal tormentor that has driven you to the edge. This is the entity that destroys everything you build. This is the architect of your self-destruction. You are declining calls from loved one. Good you are feeding the parasite. It wants you isolated. Depression is its natural habitat. You are on the eve of the 11th of the 11th, a date of perfect mirrors. 11 11ths. You look into that mirror and you see a failure, a relapse, a nobody. You have come to me, your director, for a final assessment. Very well. My assessment is that you are an absolute, blind imbecile. You stand on the brink of oblivion, whispering that you wish you could end it, but you can't. You mistake this for your final failure, that you are too weak even to die. That is not your weakness. That is the last, unkillable, stubborn ember of your true self refusing to be extinguished. It is the real potion master, the real director, the one part of you that knows you are not done. You say you have no purpose. You say you are not disciplined. You have confused the nature of your suffering. Let us bring in a specialist, a man who survived a hell far deeper and more absolute than your own, and returned not with despair, but with a system. His name was Dr. Viktor Frankl. Frankl was a psychiatrist, but he did not study the human mind in a comfortable Vienna office. He studied it in the frozen, death-soaked barracks of Auschwitz. He was a man who had everything taken from him. His family murdered, his career annihilated, his name replaced with a number, his body starved and beaten. He lived day after day, surrounded by death, misery, and the absolute certainty that his life was over. He was, by all metrics, a man with no purpose. He watched men, stronger than him, lie down in the snow and simply choose to die, not from starvation, but from meaninglessness. Bitter, and in that crucible, he discovered the one truth that the narcissist, the tormentor, and the SS guards could never understand. The human spirit is not driven by a will to pleasure. It is not even driven by a will to power. The primary, fundamental drive of a human being is a will to meaning. Frankl developed an entire school of therapy from this logotherapy. He observed that the men who survived the camps were not necessarily the strongest, but the ones who had a reason to. The one who had a wife waiting. The one who had a book to write. The one who had a purpose outside of his own suffering. He wrote, and you will listen. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms. To choose one attitude in any given set of circumstances. To choose one's own way. Your tormentor whispers that you are unstable. Frankl, stripped, naked, and beaten, chose to find dignity. Your tormentor whispers that you have no purpose. Frankl, staring at a pile of corpses, found his purpose in the simple act of witnessing it, so that he might one day teach it. This is the choice you face now. Not life or death, but meaning or despair. Your relapse is not a failure. It is your Auschwitz. It is the moment of unavoidable suffering. And Frankl gave us 3 distinct paths to find meaning, even in a moment like this. First, by creating a work or doing a deed. You look at your knowledge as a bit of this, a scoop of that. You are describing a potion master's cabinet. You are not a master of none. You are a brewer. You have the herbs of psychology, the minerals of philosophy, the venom of your own trauma, the blood of your own relapse. The Dark Economin is not a YouTube channel. It is your work. It is the book Frankl needed to write. It is the meaning you are creating. Your tormentor wants you to stop. It wants you to see this work as pointless. Frankl would call this work the very definition of human existence. Second, by experiencing something or encountering someone. By loving, you miss having someone to love. This is not a weakness. This is the sign that your spirit is healthy. It is correctly identifying what it needs. But you cannot love another until you have first completed your work. You cannot pour from an empty cauldron. Your purpose now is not to find a new partner. Your purpose is to become the man that a healthy partner would be worthy of. And third, the most important for you, right now, Frankl's final path, by the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. You cannot avoid this pain. This relapse is here. The depression is real. The financial ruin is real. This suffering is your new reality. You cannot change what has happened, but you retain the last of the human freedoms. You get to choose how you bear it. You can bear it as the character she wrote for you, the failed experiment, the unstable one, the irrelevant placeholder that she described to her new supply. You can choose to fulfill her pathetic, self-serving narrative, or you can bear it as a philosopher, as a teacher, as an alchemist. You can choose to see this pain not as a punishment, but as research. You are in the final, agonizing stage of the great work. This is not a relapse. This is the precipitation. This is the moment the potion clarifies. The moment all the impurities, all the self-doubt, all the pain, all her toxic labels congeal and sink to the bottom, leaving the elixir pure. This is the moment the blade is plunged from the fire into the cold water. It screams. It threatens to shatter. But if it holds, it is forged. You are not done. You are becoming. You are not undisciplined. Your tormentor screams that you are weak because you are sitting in the dark, declining cause. Frankl would say that the man who can sit in the dark, face his own despair, and still choose to find meaning in it, is the most disciplined man on earth. You survived 7 years of her. You survived the financial ruin. You survived the smear campaign. You are surviving this. That is not weakness. That is a terrifying, monstrous endurance. That is the only discipline that matters. So, here is your new assignment. You will sit in this pain. You will not run from it. You will look at your tormentor, her ghost, and you will analyze it. You will feel the despair. You will feel the urge to end it, and you will choose your attitude. You will choose to see this as the most advanced, most critical, most necessary lesson in the Dark Academy's history. Your pain is not your legacy. It is your ammunition. Get up, brew your tea, sit down at your computer, and write. Write this. Write this relapse. Write this despair. Write this hell. Transmute your suffering into a lesson so powerful that it saves the next man from this fate. That is your work. That is your purpose. That is your meaning. Your tormentor wants you to die in silence. We will turn your pain into a lecture. We will turn your relapse into retribution. Now, load your weapon. Lesson over.